Okay. Good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. We are in week 4. Congratulations. Congratulations if you're here with us live and really coming here and getting the support and the conversation to keep going. And if you're listening to it, also do let us know if there's something that we're talking about that you are not getting support with. Let us know through the Facebook page or even through email, through the website if you're getting this that way. So just know that we are with you if you're not here as well. So on Sunday was our official shift into this last phase. And this last phase is, I like to think of this last phase as almost the graduation phase. I don't know, Asha, if you have different feelings about it, but it feels to me like we've made it, and now we're just bringing back in the good, right? And so, like what Dr. Josie talks about a lot is we've pulled a lot of weeds, and depending on how many weeds we have, we might have had a little bit of a rough go of it. We may still have some shifting that's happening in the gut, which is uncomfortable, right? Some changes from day to day, changes that happen. And so we're just now entering into that last 10-day phase so we can recommit. Everyone that's here on the call together, we can recommit to completion. It's really beneficial to stay the course. There's a reason why there were these 3 phases that were created, right? And so while next week we still get a call, we're going to talk. I believe we have a guest with us next week, and Asha can talk more about that in a minute. But we're going to talk more about what it's like to actually really be done and graduate, and maybe consider this again in 6 months or so. I heard my husband David chatting with someone who's doing the cleanse last night, and saying, we do this almost consistently every 6 months, and it was a good reminder because it's true. The fall, I like to step back in. So, Asha, do you have any opening statements you want to bring in?
I just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for coming or watching the recording as you will. It's so important to take in these calls to be able to do what Dana said, stay the course. Really getting through the whole program and graduating is such an accomplishment, and we're so close, right? Dana mentioned that for her, this is like the graduation phase. For me, it's a little bit like the honeymoon phase. Like after the pulling of the weeds and the kind of rooter of the middle of it, this is the celebration and the nourishing. That's the way I like to think about it. Nourishing my gut and celebrating what I've accomplished. Some of the changes, some of the shifts I've been able to implement. I have to thank you all for holding the space and showing up with me, because it really helped me make better choices. And so I'm celebrating you, I'm celebrating me. We're doing it. This is amazing. And it's spring.
We had snow yesterday, but I hear it's spring. I know. It will be spring again soon.
Yeah, exactly. Spring does peekaboo, right? Here's some buds for you.
Here it does, for sure. So I wanted to talk about DDR Prime because I think, and Asha is going to talk a little bit about PB Assist today, but I think DDR Prime is a little mysterious in its all the things that it does for us and why are we adding it into this phase. And I wanted to shed a little light on that for us. But before I do that, does anybody have any like burning, I want to ask about this or bring this up? Yes, go ahead, Susan.
I'm just about out. I know we talked about this before, but I can't remember what we said. What can I use to substitute? I've got 3 of them left. Well, 5 of them left.
But you have the fiber, right?
Yeah.
And the greens?
Yeah.
Just be consistent with that. Also, you can go to a store, and as Sandra's saying, you can go get some Triphala if it's too late to order more of the Zendocrine. You can go to a health food store and get basically any kind of triphala. It's in the chat if you can see that, Susan, to write that down. That's a great, works very similarly, that pulls and binds and helps.
And you have 5 left. So take 1 each day for the next 5 days.
Oh, great suggestion. Yeah,
And
totally.
then, do we keep taking it or do we stop after 5 days at the end?
You stop. That's not something that you need to take continuously.
Oh, okay.
Some
Well, then I
people-
am okay.
Some
Alright.
people with specific health issues do consider taking this endocrine complex continuously, but that's a different conversation. But I just wanted to mark it it's not that you would never use it that way.
Okay, thanks.
Sandra, you're asking, you're not clear. It was officially Sunday. Totally fine if you did 11 days. So then phase 3 maybe would begin for you yesterday or today. Does that make sense, Sandra? If you did it extra.
Thank
But-
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my head, I didn't even know where I was.
I know it's really easy. It's so easy to get lost.
I
And
mean,
think-
I was just doing GX Assist and I wasn't realizing that I probably did 10 days already.
yeah, so you can stop the GX Assist. Exactly. Yeah. So we have extra, I want to speak to that actually before I jump into the DDR. Now you all probably have extra GX Assist, right? Because you took 10 days worth. So you have a little bottle of that. There's great ways you can use that in your day-to-day life. For example, going out to sushi. It's nice to take one after that as a little preventative. You can actually use it when you feel like you're coming down with something, especially gastrointestinally. It's very helpful. So you can use it medicinally. You can also save it and put it aside. Maybe you want to do a 10-day regut flora, and so you could do 5 days of the GX Assist and then the PB Assist, which we're doing now, followed by that. So you can still utilize that. People always ask me, should I just throw them away? No, save them. They're really great to have around. So I want to start by stepping into this is the Emotions and Essential Oil book. It's an older copy than what's available now on the front. I've read from it before, but I want to talk about the DDR prime, the emotional aspects of DDR prime, because it's the oil of transformation. And then we can talk about the other aspects of it, because I think it's really beautiful and matches where many of us might be in this cleansing process. So the cellular blend, that's what it's called. When you read DDR prime underneath, it's the cellular blend. Works emotionally as well as physically with the cycles of life and death and personal transformation. By putting off the old, individuals become free to experience the new. That is transformation. Cellular blend supports the body's sick or damaged cells to either transition to death or to transform, repair, and renew. So we call that apoptosis. That's what's going on for us on a cellular level, is our cells are going through a cycle of dying. And that happens more. We've talked about die-off, some HERC symptoms people have talked about, right? So when you look at it from the physical aspect, that's also happening. And the DDR prime is helping that actually clear the body and renew, which is super cool, I think. It's particularly supportive in releasing all types of negative family patterns. These are recorded in the body, in the DNA. So this can be very useful if you're having feelings of doubt, disbelief, despair, or burden. So this is a great thing to bring into our awareness as we're in this last phase of maybe clearing and cleansing on that more emotional ancestral level. It supports the process of also regaining health and vitality by encouraging the release of the old and the birth of the new. So this phase is officially called Renew. So I think that's really what this oil blend is about. And let me just share my screen here. Go through it, actually what we're taking, what we're actually ingesting. Right. So It does come in an oil. Many of you might have the oil and you're making capsules. I find it easier to take the soft gels. If you got the whole cleanse kit, you got the soft gels. I find it way easier because pouring the 5 drops into that little capsule twice a day, not so easy. So we have frankincense, wild orange, lemongrass, thyme, summer savey, clove, and niaouli in this blend. So this is a great blend for our immune system. Our immune system, we talked about how that's really always needing to be cleared and regenerated, right? That's a big part. It's really connected to our circulatory system, our circulation, and our blood. So this blend overall really is supporting healthy cellular integrity. And that's what we think of when we think of frankincense, right? So frankincense also helps promote a healthy response to free radicals. This is a great oil blend to take when you're flying for that extra protection. It also supports apoptosis. We just spoke about that, where bad cells, unhealthy cells, cells that it's normal that our cells go through a process of death and renewal, right? That's normal. But sometimes in that process, that becomes kind of gunk in our blood. That's not a very scientific term, but it looks like gunk in our blood. And we need sometimes support in helping that clear. DDR prime does that. So we can see that wild orange is really important in there, right? So we talk about citrus oils a lot, but this is helping that cellular response. Lemongrass is in there, and that's also helping boost up our protection against environmental threats. So lemongrass is a great oil. It's very potent. I like it actually best in the DDR prime to take because I find it very strong. But when it's blended with the wild orange and the frankincense, it's softer. But these oils are all very strong. We have thyme, which has a very broad spectrum activity, right? So we know what that means with me being compliant in my language, but it promotes immunity and cellular health. Thyme is a great oil for renewal. It can be used in lots of, so it's very helpful for the uterus, for example, when we have to clear out old blood. Thyme is really good for that as well. Summer savory supports healthy response to oxidative stress. So this is helping our DNA stay in good integrity. That's what's happening here. Clove also has lots of highly powerful antioxidant properties. Clove is a powerhouse. And niaouli, also supporting cellular immunity. So this is a really beautiful gift that we're taking into our bodies. We're doing 2 a day, taking it with a Lifelong Vitality in the morning, or in your two packs, right? And so this is bringing in that new and helping our body bring in that new.
Dana, we had a good question in the chat.
Okay, cool.
Is it okay to take, well, you could have left that up because it was about that. Is it okay to take a couple drops under your tongue, meaning not in the gel cap, but from the 15-minute bottle?
Sounds very intense to me, if you can see my face, but it's probably fine. But I would not want to do that. So if you're somebody who is putting oils under your tongue a lot and you're used to it, it's probably fine. It's just, for me, I have a repulsion to doing that because those are.
I would say, yeah, I would say personal preference because like Dr. Josie can throw anything under her tongue and she's fine.
Exactly.
Okay, just as an example, but some of us are more sensitive, but each one of those ingredients is safe, obviously, to take internally because we have the gel cap.
Oh, it's totally safe. It's just probably you're also not getting as much absorption into the lower tract as you want when you're putting it in a soft gel. And you're not getting it as much even when you're taking the ones from doTERRA, because doTERRA has it specifically formulated to actually go through the gut and go where it needs to go. So that's also the other reason why I really like using the soft gels. Some people want to make their own capsules, and then also it is a different bioavailability of where it's going, right? This is why I like putting things like frankincense under the tongue on its own. It's really good for the brain. Yeah.
Thank you for that question, whoever had that question, because this is a really good point that Dana made about that encapsulation and the product that doTERRA uses to bypass the stomach, small intestine, and actually put these oils in the microbiome in the large intestine, right? That's the big takeaway. That's just why I wanted to repeat it, because some people need to hear things twice to really get the point.
Yeah. Okay.
That was an awesome slide, Dana.
You want to see it again? Is that what you were saying?
No, it's just great. Thank you for sharing that.
That image of what's happening in our bodies. Yeah. I love that too. So do you want to talk about PB Assist a little bit?
Sure. So unfortunately, I don't have my slides. I had spontaneous house guests. And so that's why I am not in my house right now. And so I needed to take them somewhere so they could find their way to the highway. So I don't have my slides with me, but that's okay. We can talk about PB Assist. This is, and it's perfect segue because we're talking about encapsulation. And so everybody knows how amazing probiotics are, prebiotics and probiotics. And doTERRA has really excelled with their PB Assist and the PB Assist Junior, by the way. The strains of probiotics in the kids' edible probiotic is different from that of the PB Assist Senior. So I like to take both. A couple times a week, I'll take the kids and I mix it up to just to round things out. doTERRA spent a long time designing the encapsulation for the probiotics of the PB Assist so that it does exactly what, like we just said, it makes it all the way to the gut, to the large intestine where we really need these probiotics to land and nourish. And so it doesn't dissolve in your stomach. Like sometimes, you know, people will bring up a probiotic and be like, there's so many 100 billion trillion strains. And I was like, yeah, but how many of them actually get where they're supposed to go, right? Half of those are going to dissolve in your esophagus, in your stomach acid, and not actually make it. So I like, if I'm paying for the probiotic, I want to make sure that it's going where I actually need it. And so that's what we get with doTERRA's probiotic. And one of the reasons this is so important right now is because of what we just left on Sunday, phase 2, right? The uprooting of the weeds and the killing of the different buggies that may have been living in our large intestine. So once we've cleared all that out, we now want to go in and take the probiotics twice a day at least, right? Is it twice or 3 times a day that we're taking the PB Assist?
I take it only at night. So there's a lot of different suggestions here, and you know, Dr. Josie and I have had like very in-depth conversations on it, and it's because there is not a unified agreement out in the world about within naturopathic physicians, and everybody has different mindset. What I think is most important is you try to take it around in a more empty stomach. So I don't recommend taking it with your other supplements. So Nikki had asked in the group, and she does really well with taking it first thing in the morning. I do really well with taking it at night. You can do it twice a day if you'd like, or you can do it just 3 at night or something like that. So it's just, this is where we get to really be empowered and know our bodies. So some people's metabolism is slower and needs to do it maybe on the first thing in the morning. That might have something to do with it, you know, so you kind of have to see how your food is moving. And if you have like a full belly, maybe, you know, take it when you're a little more empty is my suggestion.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm glad I had that intuition, Dana, because I get up first thing in the morning and I have a big glass of lemon water and I take the probiotic first, right? This is like right even before I brush my teeth. I get it in there because I want it to be alone in my gut for a little bit before I have tea or coffee, right? Before I move on and take other supplements, I want to give it a chance. So I'm taking it first thing in the morning, and I'm actually taking one before bed as well. I'm taking 2 a day. But again, personal preference, notice how you're feeling, notice what you're doing, but I'm also keeping my diet consistent. I'm still not having, my choice was I did the full Whole30 plus mostly vegan. And so I'm keeping everything the same. I'm probably drinking a little more water with that probiotic. And like I said, I'm giving it its foothold by doing it first thing in the morning. And so the replenishment, the balancing, the feeding the good bugs, the good bacteria and the good buggies, getting them all nourished and situated and set in the large intestine, that's what we're doing in this probiotic phase. Is there anything you would add to that, Dina?
So far, nobody immediately replied.
No, I think I just think they're cool. I love the way they
You have
look.
one to show? I mean, everybody has them, right? With the two
Yeah, I
green
just think
fingers.
they're cool how they work. There's nothing really else out there like that. I just know when I take them at night, I have like the most beautiful bowel movement in the morning. So I'm very happy with the probiotic. I think it's great. Yeah. And this is something also that we're only telling you to take for the next 10 days that you can continue to take, or you can put it aside and decide that, oh, I want to take this, you know, I'm going to go on this trip. Or if somebody here recently has been on antibiotics, then I definitely recommend finishing the whole bottle recently, you know. And so this is where we start to look at our history and what we've been, even from birth, how many times have we been on antibiotics, and how much do we need to actually replenish our gut, and is this our first time doing that? And so that sort of shifts things into, you know, what we'll talk about next week more in terms of prepping. But I'm telling you this now because many of us are placing our LRPs. It's the early part of the month, and so PB Assist and Terrazyme might be something you want to continue to take with your lifelong vitality. It's definitely something I'm going to continue to take after the last 2 years to just really support my gut health, and really take advantage of that great deal that we get with doTERRA, that we get those as add-ons. It's so great.
And I would encourage you guys also to try the kids, the PB Assist Juniors, to try ordering those and mixing those in, especially if you have a particular goal of, let's say, boosting your immune system, right? If there's something you're going out after, not just digestion, but you actually, you know, maybe you have a trip planned, or maybe you have, you're immunocompromised, or maybe, right? There are many different reasons, or maybe you have skin issues or your histomatic issues or whatever. Mixing those two probiotics is a really good idea. And it's delicious. The kids thing, it's like a little pixie stick. You just snip off the top and take it in. It's edible. It's melon flavored, I think.
It's hard to just eat one.
I've never had more than one, Dana. Wow, you're funny.
I mean, no, I don't, but it's hard. You're like, ooh, these are good. It's like candy to me.
Yeah,
really.
it's delicious. It's delicious. It's sugar free, but it's I think it's sweetened with stevia. Yeah. And so one other thing I wanted to talk about today is Dr. Louise Rose said something the other day that really stood out to me. She shared it on our last call, actually. I don't know if anybody remembers, and I made a little meme out of it this week. And it is, she says to herself, what will I do today in order to make my body feel the way I want to feel? So what are we willing to do? Right? We all have health goals, health needs, health concerns. They're different for everybody, right? We're all biodynamic. But the most important thing is, what are we willing to do about it? Right? We all know about them. It's not like we don't know, right? And so I love that. I'll post it, and I'll post this meme in the in the group, because I just think it's such a beautiful reminder, you know, to ask ourselves what we're willing to do. Like, for example, and the reason I bring this up now is I made these dietary choices during the cleanse, but I now realize I feel so good right now. There is no way I'm going back to eating the way I was before this cleanse started. Like, I may not, you know, I might have the 80-20 rule, right? I might be really good 80% of the time, and 20% I might have, right? I might have a Chardonnay, or I might have a whatever, but I'm not, this has really changed me. And I realized that I am willing to make some bigger shifts moving forward, because I feel so grounded, calm. I'm sleeping so well. My skin is glowing, right? I've been noticing all these amazing improvements. So I just ask you to ask yourself.
We lost her. She'll come back. We lost her. She's on, I guess she's on college campus. So I'll continue with her question, and seeing if anybody really has anything coming up that they're feeling resistance with. We can chat about that. Any resistances coming up? Go ahead, Susan, and then Nikki. It looked like you had.
I just have the problem with water, and I don't know what that's about. I carry it around with me, so it's there, and I'm usually going through what I don't know how many ounces it is. But a quick question, Dana, when you were using this book, what page were you on for DDR Prime? It's got all.
Well,
it doesn't.
so it yours looks like it has a different cover, different year. So mine's on 106, but it's under Cellular Blend. That book does not have
Okay.
the title of the oil. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah,
You're
this is an
welcome.
old one.
Susan, I would work on with the water. I would work on maybe just drinking it in different forms, like warm water with different oils in it, making them different treats, and seeing if that helps you get more liquid in. Yeah. Okay, Nikki, go ahead.
Thanks. So yeah, I have a question. At first, I just wanted to say thank you to this community because I shared last week about what was going on with my son, and I had so many people reach out to me individually, and I just, it's so rare. I mean, where does that happen? Where you just have people checking in and sending you love and offering information and help. And so good news is we are going to Mexico. My son has had a radical change. We found out that from the vaccine that he had, it was not the COVID vaccine. It was a hepatitis B vaccine that's required in California. You can't opt out of any required vaccines. And what happened was after he had it, his immune system recognized everything he ate as the enemy. And we took him to one acupuncturist who referred us to another acupuncturist who does a therapy called NAET, N-A-E-T. I don't know if you do that, Dana. And
I don't, but I know about it. Yeah, it's really good.
We were about to cancel our trip and she said, hold on, don't cancel until you come, bring him. She happened to have an open, I mean, it was like divine intervention, had an opening, and she worked out that he was reacting to potassium, which is in everything except honey. Water and honey is like the only things that don't have potassium. And in one acupuncture session, she was able to flip the switches back on. Every day he's been getting better. And she told us, go ahead and go to Mexico. And he's eating everything again, which is just amazing. He had a fast for 24 hours and that was it. But so this is my question, because I really didn't time out when I started. I wish I had started the cleanse earlier. I had all the stuff and I didn't really time it out, but I love what you shared because I didn't know that about taking DDR Prime when you're traveling, when you're on a plane. But normally we're going to Mexico and my instinct would be, okay, everybody's going to take GX Assist, but I'm going to be on PB Assist. And I'm trying to figure out what do you recommend for traveling, especially to someplace like Mexico, and especially with a kid who's just missed 6 weeks of school due to GI issues, which actually was more like a liver issue, I think. But yeah, I'm just curious what your recommendations are. Should I be giving my family GX Assist, PB Assist? Should everybody be on DDR Prime? Do I just, we'll finish, we're there until the 14th, the 7th till the 14th. So we'll finish on the 12th. Like, I'm just curious what your advice would be.
Well, I would probably do it per each individual person. I wouldn't necessarily say the whole family is going on this. So I would treat your son and really address what his needs are, making sure that you have probiotics. I wouldn't use the GX Assist unless you think you've eaten something wrong. I mean, if you're not able to like stay away from the ice or the salads and things like that, then yeah, take it. But I would try to do it more of a preventative avoidance of those things and just being really good like that. And then upon exposure, using the GX Assist. And then the DDR you could use for the flight, you could use for a day or two after, but I would do you different since you're the one that's doing the cleanse. And then do your family as you normally would, you know? So for each of them, their individual, their health, their needs.
So would you recommend, like I had somebody recommend that we should get Traveler's Biotics, which I had never heard of before. And I'm just such a fan, like Asha was saying, of the delivery system of our PB Assist. You know, would you, for kids, we don't have the juniors, but I have 3 bottles of the PB Assist. Would you do a triple dose like we're doing on the cleanse of like 1 to 3 a day?
For kids, no, one.
For kids, once they're teenagers, so they're not little kids.
I mean, you could do 2. I don't think they would need 3. Yeah.
Okay.
You could also do, Nikki, you could also do On Guard Plus, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Yeah. To bring, and I totally agree with Dana to only bring GX Assist in case something happens. You get there and something happens, but I wouldn't take it prophylactically even. I wouldn't. That's like such a hardcore. I just wanted to ask you, Nikki, congratulations. Yay. I'm
Thank
so
you.
happy to hear that news. My goodness. But I had a question. How did they know it was potassium? Was it muscle testing or did they
Yeah,
test it?
muscle testing.
Amazing. Wow.
And he did not have a single day prior to that session where he said he felt better. And the day after, once he finished the fast and started eating, he said, oh, I feel a little bit better. And I was like, that is huge. So yeah, it was pretty phenomenal. So I highly recommend it. And thank you for that reminder. I mean, I have like bottles. I have 3 bottles of On Guard Plus ready to go. I forget because that has the oregano and the Melissa. And I have 3 bottles of probiotics that's like already in the travel bag. But that's such a good reminder. So thank you.
Have a wonderful time.
Thank you.
Asha, you bounced off. Did you want to complete your thought?
I'm so sorry, everybody. My son called and I tried to hit decline and said I poofed myself off. But anyway, I was just trying to, you knew what I was saying, right? What are you willing to do for yourself? What are you willing to continue with in order to reach your goals, right? And it might be, like Dana said, we might see you here in the fall. We might see you here next spring, right? I do want to repeat this because this is actually something that Dr. Josie really wanted me to make a point of, is that I myself have had a very different journey with this cleansing process. You know, I used to react to the most basic Terrazyme. Terrazyme used to give me diarrhea. And all the naturopaths would look at me like, what is wrong with you? And they didn't say anything, but I could tell from their faces that was not normal, right? So we all have a different spectrum or arc of how we react to this process and to the purification that we're doing, right? There's no judgment, there's no race. We're all in a different place. And I can't wait. I'll be doing this next spring again. I like to do it once a year. That's my personal preference, but you might be taking it forward. You know what I mean? Or you might, as I said, keep your diet choices. Maybe you've learned a lot about what works for you and what doesn't work for you, right? During this process. I think this is priceless, right? Don't you, Dana? This kind of self-discovery.
For sure. It's so helpful. Every time I do this, I walk away with 1 or 2 changes that are substantial. And those 1 or 2 changes are good enough. And like Susan, even if you're drinking a little bit more water than you used to with the intent, I'm sure you are, because you're bringing that intention to it. That's a huge improvement, right? Just that, like an extra glass, it's an improvement. And these things then catapult other improvements, right? And so that's what I'm witnessing in the group and in myself and just even on the page and just seeing everybody's these little small things make big changes. So I'd love to open up the call. We don't have a guest this week, so I just would love to open up the call and see if anybody has any other questions or is in need of support around anything regarding the cleanse, their oils, what they're using, their health. This is a good time. Go ahead, Virginia.
Okay, so maybe this was already mentioned, but I didn't hear it. In regards to the PB Assist Junior, okay, I have both. So do you replace the adults version with the same amount of PB Assist? So 3 capsules, you take 3 packets?
I would not take 3 packets. I don't actually have them here to say. Maybe Asha, you can say, but I would not take 3 packets. I would say it's just like do your 3 of your PB Assist, and then the next day maybe do the Junior.
Just one.
Yeah, I would just do one. I wouldn't do 3. Asha, what do you think?
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry that wasn't clear, Virginia. It's an add-on. It's not a replacement of. It's a hit it from a different angle. So I would just, what I do is I take one twice a week. Like I might have one on a Tuesday and a Thursday, just to kind of round out which probiotic strains I'm getting.
Okay, so on top of the 3, so today, as an example, I would take my 3 capsules and maybe at lunchtime or whenever you think, do the Junior?
Just try it
Or-
out. Also, you don't, yeah, I'm not taking 3 probiotics. So you are. So this would be a 4th. That's a lot, right? So maybe once a week you could try that.
Okay.
You don't, there's not a rhyme to reason.
it
It's not
is-
like a chart click off thing. You know what I mean? It's kind of see how you're feeling and just add into the different strains. So it's a once a day and it's
Okay.
optional.
Okay.
I'm going to give you an alternative option. You could finish out your PB Assist, and then instead of ordering another bottle of PB Assist, you could do one a day of the Junior for that container to replenish of that strain. So you can do it either way.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure, of course.
So what I was doing with the PB Assist is I was doing like one in the morning, and then I would do the PB Assist Junior at night. And I started doing that whenever I felt like I might have get exposed to something that I didn't want to. I was trying to keep my gut as healthy as I could. And so that's how I've done it. I am doing it currently, one in the morning and one at night, the PB Assist. I'm not doing the Junior right now. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, but that's a cool way to do it as well, like in the morning or at night. That's great. Yeah, thank you for that, Florence.
I do have a question, and I know our body detoxes through our skin, but I've had an interesting experience when I was in that second phase. I also had like face flushing, where my face would feel intense heat, and I would be pink, like I don't have rosacea, but it was like pink, and it would just come on, and it was just really interesting. I'm guessing that's part of that one, because I really experienced some serious stuff from the castor oil pack through phase 2. Now I feel fabulous.
Have you had flushing like that before?
Oh no,
Yeah,
No.
interesting, huh?
it was like I'm
Good
almost
beliefs.
embarrassed that I had gotten so pink in the face.
Was it here?
Yeah, it was like,
That is digestive zone in Chinese medicine, face diagnosis.
so
Mhm.
I probably was really working hard.
Sometimes that can be like an autoimmune reaction, a flush. That can be sometimes. Good that you're doing the DDR now. It's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
and I was, prior to the cleanse, I'm already doing DDR every day. I'm already doing the Yarrow Palm.
Great. And this is going to
Uh,
now hit in a different way, in a deeper way, because you've been doing
yeah.
that work. So that's great, Florence.
I have another.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I just feel horrible. I feel worse than I did when I started. But I think that speaks to the level of how run down I was. I'm exhausted, but I can't sleep. The brain fog. I'm doing a lot of very stressful, very new things. I'm doing a lot of technology and stuff. So that the stress of that is not going down well. I'm wondering if I should add the Mito 2 Max, is that what you call it?
Mm-hmm.
To address, I was not going to do that until I finished. I keep waiting for phase 3 to regenerate and renew and start to feel better, but it hasn't happened yet. So I don't know if I should add that yet, or
Do you have
wait
it there with you, Susan?
do I have what? Which one? Yeah,
The
it's a,
Mito. Oh, you do have it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I would wait, and I'm with Sandra. My heart does go out to you, Susan. It's not fun to feel like that, and be like in that cycle. And I know you're waiting to feel better, but it is a little early in the phase 3. As you said, coming in with how you were feeling to have that renewal. So I would give it a little time before we go
Yeah.
to Mito 2 Max. Like give it at least 6 days in this phase and see if you start to feel better. If at the day 6, if you don't start to feel better, give yourself one Mito 2 Max in the morning. Just do one at first.
okay.
I
Yeah.
also just want to point out, Susan, that where most of us were editing what we've been doing and working on and like clearing the decks, you've been ramping up and starting new things and challenging yourself. And it's been a lot, the process. And so I want to commend you really, truly for sticking with it. And I am also sorry that you're not sleeping, you don't feel good, but I know it's going to shift. I know it will shift. And we can connect on the group also about this, but I just wanted to say that you have to be mindful that how many stresses, challenges, starting a new business, doing a website, like all these other things that we're on top of, right? The process. So I just wanted to point that out as possible.
That's a good point, which is I'll add one reason I really appreciate you guys so much, because I wouldn't do this if it weren't for you. I wouldn't have the courage to get through it. And I think that's really what I need. I think there's a lot of answers in this for me. And diet is one I have to really work on, but I'm too tired. I can't do a diet right now. I don't even know, I don't go to the grocery store. So what we eat is what's around, laying around the house. And all of that needs to shift eventually. I'm also dealing with a husband who's in late stage life. And, so we don't sleep around here much. And that's stressful, being a caregiver to somebody who's that
Huge.
ill is a stressor. And so being me, I keep adding stresses. And then I wonder why I'm so stressed. Well, I just started my own YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh, you did it.
Well, Susan, I want to let you know that Sandra is sharing in the chat over here that the first time she did the cleanse, the most uncomfortable phase was actually the 3rd phase, and she was
Really?
So everyone's different. And Virginia's saying that happened for her too. So everyone is different, and while you are bringing in all these other layers of things to remind yourself that your body is processing a lot. When I first, as an acupuncturist, not just working in doTERRA, but when I first see a patient and they come in, they see me, and sometimes they bring in literally bags of supplements, right? Because they want to feel better and they don't feel well. And there's bags and bags of different kinds of supplements. And I go through all of them, and what I realize and what I see is that the body actually can't process it all. It's too much. Even though all the things are great that's in there, it's too much. So your body is just processing all of these things right now. The information, the supplements, the process. And so it is hard. It's just it is a good acknowledgement to say this is a lot of work you're doing, this, you know, and to be grateful for your body to be holding you in that process, and, you know, giving yourself the grace of just taking it day by day. Yeah, I hope you can do that for yourself. Mhm.
Well, I like to share too is that during that second phase, when I started feeling so crummy, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I was frustrated because I couldn't, I didn't feel good enough energy or motivation to do what I wanted to do normally, that I normally do. And I thought, okay, you just got to stick it out. So I would say giving myself grace, that it was okay that I couldn't do whatever it was I was going to wanted to do. I just knew that I needed to give my body grace as well and let it do its work. And then when I say that, it was we started the renew on Sunday. I would say yesterday was Monday was the first day I really began to feel better, and today I feel fine. I mean, I am grateful for that because I gave my body and my mind grace for what I was going through. Susan, you got this.
Florence, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And that, that fits back into the mindset stuff. Like we were saying in the beginning, we've got this. We have each other. We have this container. The process is proven, tried and true, even though we're all going to experience it differently, like Dana said. And I would love, Susan, to talk with you privately. Like we can have a separate call if you like to talk about some of these things, but feel the love from this group because we're all sending you our love and support for sure.
Nikki, I saw you raise your hand.
Yeah, I love this conversation, and I can't say again how much I just love this community. This is such a special place. This is so different than where we see it just everywhere else. But this whole idea of mindset and how important it is, and how your mind is the most powerful muscle in your body. And last Thursday, so we were 1 week into our GX Assist, and I had upped my GX Assist from 1 to 2 to 3. And I had a great morning. I had a couple of work calls, and I woke up feeling great. And I stood up from my desk and I was about to go. I teach 2 back-to-back yoga classes, and one of them is an aerial class. And I stood up, and all of a sudden I got a big spasm around my left shoulder blade. And instead of freaking out and going and tensing up around it and thinking, oh my gosh, now I have to go and teach and use my body and be focused on other people and what's going on, I just stayed really relaxed. And I thought to myself, oh, this is interesting. Instead of what's wrong, I thought, what an interesting thing. I didn't move differently. I didn't sleep different. Like this just came out of nowhere. And I managed to stay really relaxed in my body. I mean, it took extra focus for me to be teaching. When I'm teaching, I'm very outwardly focused. I don't even often notice my own body, but I had to be so focused on keeping the area around my shoulders really relaxed. And then I went and talked to my acupuncturist, and I told her, she didn't even know I was doing a cleanse. I told her what I said, I just got this muscle spasm. I'm not sure what this is. And she said, oh, that's liver. And I was like, it was like relief, because I thought, oh, there's nothing wrong. She said, this is good. And I told her I'm doing a cleanse. She said, this is really good. That means you're really detoxing your liver. And I was able to magically slide in and get an appointment with her on Saturday. And she helped, and it didn't immediately go away. But I find that when I stay mentally relaxed, those symptoms don't get worse. They either kind of subside, or, I find the path to healing so much easier. So it's all this stuff that you're talking about, Florence and Susan, being in that state of grace, trusting the process, staying with it, and asking for support when we need it. And I thought that was an interesting one. I'm like a few people on this call. I've been doing this cleanse once or twice a year for about 5 years, and I've never had that one happen before. So there's always something new and exciting to experience.
Now that you mention it, the one time in my life I felt really, really wonderful was when I had regular acupuncture, and I haven't had that in about 10 years. So I'm going to look into acupuncture. Is very supportive.
It is. Nikki, thank you so much for that share. And I just have to piggyback very briefly with something, just because it's so serendipitous with what you were just talking about. Remember, I told you I have this house guest, and she said to me this morning that something that she works on to support her mindset. And I just have to share it because it's very similar to what Nikki just said. And it is so powerful. So my friend says she doesn't judge herself anymore. If something goes on, something goes wrong, something goes whatever, she doesn't get down on herself. She says, I get curious. That's funny that happened, or that my body reacted this way, or this happened, or whatever. What do I need? What do I need to support myself to shift this? So getting curious instead of judgmental, right? When we talk about mindset, right? That's brilliant right there. I was so astounded with what she said. What a beautiful way to treat yourself, is being curious and being kind to yourself. I just wanted to remind of that.
Okay. I think we're complete, unless anybody has something else to add to the call. Question or?
Well, people are coming up with their last question. I do want to just say that our special guest is Dr. Jenny Trevenkian next week. And she is a fantastic naturopathic physician, and she is amazing with nutrition and diet. And she's going to talk to us about exiting the cleanse. How do we best shift out of what we're doing, and different concepts, different ways of adding things back in, so that you get to notice what works for you and doesn't work for you. I'm not going to give it away, but you're going to want to be on that call.
Yeah. Go ahead, Virginia.
Okay, and I hope this isn't TMI, but phase 2, I was really surprised that I wasn't having a lot of the issues that some of the other people were. And so that's why I increased to 2 GX, as I got 2 of the GX. But this phase, what I noticed, well, it was toward the very, very end of phase 2 and into now phase 3. And I am still going every day, but it's more, it's an effort. And one of the, not that I'm having really bad pains, but I can tell I need to go, but I have to really kind of work at it. And one of the things that I've found that has helped me, and I don't know if this was even brought up, but like the squatty potty thing, if I put like a little step stool by my in front of me and put my feet on that, oh, it's a charm. It works like that. So just an FYI.
Well, that is the healthiest position that we're supposed to go in, right?
Yeah.
Those little stools.
Yeah.
Are you taking your PB Assist at night or in the morning?
Well, I was taking it in the morning. Should I do that?
Try taking it at night.
At
too.
night.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if that shifts helps you a little bit.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for the share. Any other last?
I just wanted to ask, are you also taking your Terrazyme at night before bed?
And you could also add in the magnesium before bed if you
Okay.
feel like you're not going in the morning.
I'm taking my Terrazyme 5 times a day, AM, then each meal and bedtime.
Great. Yeah. Add the PB Assist to it. See what happens. See if it helps you at night. Yeah. I think
At
it
night.
should.
Okay,
Yeah. I think well, let us know. Let us
okay.
know if you don't turn around and this is a more uncomfortable phase.
Yeah.
It-
I mean,
sounds-
it's not tremendously uncomfortable. I've never had, well, the first phase, I had a couple of interesting things that I've never had before, but like crying jag, which is not me. But yeah, this has been, I'm actually anxious to go to the next one. Thank you.
Well, thank you, everyone. I will get this recording up this afternoon. It's going to be up a little later. If anyone in your world is looking for it, just know it'll be up in a couple hours. I have to run out, so I won't be able to put it up right away. But we'll see you in the Facebook group until next week. See you next week. Have a really successful, beautiful, gentle, loving week, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Dana and Asha.